Caribbean tourism is dead in the water and wholly dependent on what's next in the United States, Europe, and Canada.
Global cases have now passed 13 million just 5 days after we hit the 12 million mark.
In Jamaica, residents of the parish of Hanover are in shock over the brutal slaying of 6 family members on Thursday night.
Chauvin had his knee on Mr. Floyd's neck for 8 minutes and 46 seconds in total.
It's too much. It's too...
The news does not always have to be about this. There's a lot of good news, good stories, good people, good ideas to talk about. So listen up on Thursdays to Only Good News with your host, Enoite Inanga, from 7 to 8 p.m. It's going to be only good news for 1 hour, where we will share good news from stories and people, locally, regionally, and all over the world. And there's more. You will get to hear from people telling their stories of success, breakthroughs, and perseverance as we feature a special guest each week. It's Only Good News, and it's happening this Thursday from 7 to 8 p.m. right after the, regular news. Only Good News on WinFM 98.9 and winfm.com.
Find a way to spend your time in positivity.
At The Cable, we know being local means supporting our own, and our customers deserve the best. Our customers deserve platinum. So now, all customers of The Cable qualify for our new Platinum Loyalty Card. An elite MasterCard experience that lets you support your own like never before. Instantly send money to any Platinum Loyalty member at home or around the world. Shop online or in person anywhere MasterCard is accepted. Save with no interest and 0 annual fees. And the best part? If you're a Cable customer, you are already pre-approved. Just visit the Cable building in Basse-Terre or sign up online at www.thecable.net. Get your Platinum Loyalty Card today, because you deserve platinum. Terms and conditions apply.
Welcome to episode 40. I can't believe we made it this far. I was talking to my guest, who you're going to hear from shortly. I didn't think I'll make it past 6 episodes, and now we're at 40. So thank you all for getting me this far. I don't think that I would be able to keep coming here every week if I didn't feel I have an audience of people who want to hear what I have to offer, good news and things that make us have hope and feel good. Last week was what I would pen and term as an epic show, where we would have had a Mother's Day centric show and the biggest giveaway we've ever done on OGN. We had giveaways of value totaling more than $1,500. And I want to publicly thank everybody who came on board. The cable, our premier sponsor. Thank you guys. You've made 2 mothers happy by taking $100 off of their next cable bill. Flo, thank you. You've also made 2 mothers, actually 3 mothers, by virtue of giving them $100 top up. I want to thank you, Digicel. You've also made 2 more mothers happy by giving them $100 top up. I want to thank eCarb Hub Bites. You made another mother happy, a foodie actually at that, by giving her $50 off her next purchase. I want to thank Jad. You've also made 2 mothers happy by giving them $100 Jad credit each. I also want to thank Rams for coming on board. Rams gave $100 to Mother voucher, shopping voucher. I also want to thank Authors. Authors came on board with $75 voucher for food. And I also definitely want to thank Ignite Your Inner Joy Therapies for coming on board. That was 2 gifts, 2 free massages, dollar value of $150. And you know, that was just in my opinion, just epic. I mean, I didn't finish. I definitely didn't forget. I just didn't finish. Bel Air, that's Clarissa Bell. She came on board and she gave wine, shirt, and pen. And Sinkheads Nevis florist, Natalie, thank you for the dreamy floral arrangement, value at $200. Actually, that gift went to, I'm going to call her name, Doreen Delaney. She's in her 90s. And when I went to deliver this gift, she looked at me and she gave me that sweet eye. She was like, you look good. Like, almost like, I was like, man, is it because I don't get it, man. Like, how come I don't get that from the younger cohort? Like, you know, they go, man, I'm single. It's like, none but the old people, like, who can remember grandma's telling me, give me the sweet eye. Anyway, just played. But she was happy to get that gift. And Latoya's Fashion gave $150 towards shoes or bags or, you know what she has. And that, again, just amazing. And so I want to thank everybody who came on board because you made mothers smile. 2 weeks ago, I had Dr. Drew in here, and I spoke just passionately about the chickens that I hate in my yard, who are always waiting for the mangoes to drop and waiting for my passion fruits to drop to go and eat them before I get them. I hate them. But at the same time, I started to observe, because when I would come home and I see them pecking away endlessly at the fruits, I would go and try to chase them. And the male chickens, or what you call them, the roosters, as soon as the door opens, they run. They fly. But what I realized about the hens, the mother hens, I'm going to come to a point here. The mother hens do not run. They don't run. And that phrase of, stop being like a chicken, stop being a chicken, to mean that you're scared, is not really applicable. Because what I've realized is that when you become a mother, that which would have made you scared and invoked that flight in you turns into brave, like being brave and being able to be willing to put up a fight. And so I just want to affirm all you mothers out there. And like I said, that's just a chicken, but you can imagine what it's like for us human beings, how with that greater sense of intelligence and affection and love and emotions and everything, what it's like to be a mom and, in my opinion, have those superpowers. So I just once again, in the spirit of Mother's Day, which was this past Sunday, I just want to once again affirm all of you. And next year will be even bigger and better. Okay? So now let's jump onto the good news of the day. Yesterday was, I think it was yesterday, International Nurses Day. And boy, the highlight of the day was the Jerusalem dance that took place in the parking lot at the JNF Hospital, just to see hospital workers, nurses, phlebotomists, emergency technicians, and just vibing and dancing, and just without any care in the world. The camaraderie was just amazing, and nurses definitely deserve to be affirmed for what they do, because I can't be a nurse. It's not for everybody. So definitely kudos to those nurses. They're actually going to have more things taking place. I think they're going to be finishing on the 15th of May with a health walk and breakfast. Health walk and breakfast at starting at the airport and ending in Frigate Bay. Good going. All right, let's keep going. Still local news. Washington Archibald High School wins the first Sinkheads and Nevis Marine Drone Challenge. You guys know I'm into IT. And hearing that they got these youngsters, 16, 17, 18, like youngsters, to build drones that operate in the water, like literally building them from pipes to propellers to circuitry to everything, to remote control and everything. These youngsters are doing amazing things in this field, and definitely want to affirm Dr. Ricardo Neal for the lives that he is positively impacting with everything that he's done with the Sinkheads Nevis Robotic Association. If it wasn't for him, I doubt if we would have had something like this. So Washington Archibald High School amassed 55 points. Bassett High School amassed 15 points, and the Charles E. Mills got 5 points, and CFB did not compete because they had technical difficulties. But again, that's not the issue here. That's not the story. The story is that they learned as they built, and next time this is going to be bigger and better. And who knows? You know, COVID is here, and everyone's talking about tourism, and we're not really seeing that this might be a golden opportunity for robotics. Who knows? Who knows? All right, let's take a trip across the pond and talk about a janitor at the school. A lady who was once a janitor actually ended up getting a degree and teaching right back at the school. This is a story about Wanda Smith, who had always wanted to be a school teacher, but sometimes meeting life's demanding realities can mean a dream deferred. Now, she's a mother of 3, and, you know, she was a boss monitor and a custodian for the Brennan Independent School District in Texas. And she literally decided to go back to school and get a bachelor's degree and literally become a teacher. And her story came full circle when she was hired as a first grade teacher back at the same school. And yeah, she says during the pandemic, some of her students struggled to meet the demands of distance learning, and so she stepped up to the challenge, noting that many of the kids she teaches come from single-parent families. So she began delivering school packets at home. And it says it's no wonder her kids adore her. It's in a special surprise ceremony, they shouted their praise and held up big colorful signs declaring their devotion. Good story. Next story here talks about a hero that jumped into Maryland Bay. Mr. Producer, I want music in my ears. That jumped into Maryland Bay to save the toddler's life after a crash flung her into the water. Sounds sad, but this guy, Jonathan Bauer, actually is afraid of heights, and it did not stop him from leaping off a bridge, some 25 to 40 feet to the water below to save the little girl's life. See, this girl got caught up in a pileup, and it sent 8 people to the hospital. And so after making sure this baby was okay, he got out of his car to see if everybody needed help. And he looked over, and he basically saw that there was somebody floating on the water. And yeah, so he definitely jumped in and helped the toddler and made sure he saved her life. The pictures are actually pretty bad. But imagine he did not care about his fear of heights and jumped in and saved the little girl's life. Isn't that a good story? That's a good story. All right, next one here is about a homeless Nigerian boy who becomes a chess champion at 10 years old after immigrating to the U.S. Now, this guy, Tani Toluwa Adewumi, more commonly called by Tani, may just be 10 years old, but he's already an official chess national master with an impressive rating of 2,223. The 28th youngest person to actually achieve such a title in the States. He was only introduced to the game of chess a few years ago while he was living with his family in a homeless shelter. Now, they fled Nigeria because of the violent attacks that have been taking place on Christian families. Began residing in a shelter in Manhattan. And with the hope of a local pastor, he started attending elementary school, and that's where he learned how to play chess, and he was drawn to the game. And so when he competed his first tournament, he got the lowest score of any student. But a year later, he took home the state championship trophy, beating 73 of New York's best players in grades K3. He is a prodigy, and he's the first competitor to ever win a state championship on his first try. Anyway, this guy he's a chess master, and he's a real deal. And now he's no longer homeless because of the campaign set up by his teacher, which raised $250,000, which helped them get out of the shelter and move into their own home in Connecticut. Ain't that some good news? And the last one here is something that appeals to me. I've been saying this for years and for years and years and years and years. Why do we always throw away food that's good? Now there's an app that lets you buy leftover food from your favorite restaurants, saving 150,000 meals a day globally. We need that right here in Sinkheads. A different kind of food service app is allowing loyal customers to pay cut rates in order to rescue restaurant food before it goes into the waste bin. Get it? This is actually a brilliant name. It's called Too Good To Go. Get it to go. Offers buyers a grab bag of nearly wasted yet perfectly good food to take away as a method of cutting back on food waste and helping support the restaurant industry. As easy as throwing it away, the simplicity of Too Good To Go is the key to its success. Rather than other apps of similar sort which allows customers to pick and choose what items they want to save, you see this app offers only bags of whatever the food restaurants have, which is truer to the spirit of the enterprise, one would think. And it was this app was one of several winners of a Fast Company's 2021 World Changing Ideas Award, who reports that 40% of food in the US is wasted. It is impossible to know how much food really does end up in the landfills, but it is possible to know how many meals that this app has prevented from going there. And originally it was only available in select American cities, but they have sold 200,000 meals that were merely hours away from going into the garbage. And now over 1,500 restaurants have signed up in cities like Boston, DC, New York, Philly, and it's now present in 15 countries, and 150,000 orders are going out the door per day across a user base of around 37 million people, saving an astronomically mind-boggling amount of food waste. And I can't wait for something like that to come here because we waste a lot of food. And that's it for our top stories of good news. We're going to take a very, very short break, and when we come back, you'll see my guest in the studio. We'll be right back.
At The Cable, we know being local means supporting our own, and our customers deserve the best. Our customers deserve platinum. So now, all customers of The Cable qualify for our new platinum loyalty card. An elite MasterCard experience that lets you support your own like never before. Instantly send money to any Platinum Loyalty member at home or around the world. Shop online or in person anywhere MasterCard is accepted. Save with no interest and 0 annual fees. And the best part? If you're a cable customer, you are already pre-approved. Just visit the Cable Building in Basse-Terre or sign up online at www.thecable.net. Get your Platinum Loyalty card today because you deserve Platinum. Terms and conditions apply.
And we're back. In the studio, I have with me the CEO of Sugar Town Organics. And I can't pronounce the rest of the other things that she does. She's going to help me. I think, is it Yafine Marapa, Floriel Gifts. And she's a model, she's a chef, she's a journalist, she's a super mom rather, and everything. First of all, thank you for being here.
You're welcome. Thank you for having me.
And I always stop asking, what's good?
Life is good.
Life is good?
Life is good.
You're also good.
Yeah, I'm good.
All right, people, you're going to hear exclusive here on the radio, the first reveal that has never been revealed before on radio. Everybody, guess what? Anastasia was my first crush when I came to Sinkheads in 2002.
I was?
Yes, my first petition crush. I came to Sinkheads in 2002, right? And I saw her. She was in the choir. My brother took me to Basse-Terre, Seventh Adventist Church. She was in the choir, and she was the first one I saw. I landed on a Friday. He was like, "Okay, we have choir practice," and I looked and I saw her. She had on a purple dress.
Gosh, you remember what I had on too?
Yes, I do remember what she had on. And I just kept looking. I was like, "Oh my gosh, she's fine. You know, she looks like, you know," and yeah, and then we went on one date. I know you can't remember.
Okay.
We went to eat lunch. Okay. And you were a journalist and everything. But I just want to let everyone know that you were my first petition crush. All right? Big reveal.
All right.
You don't remember anyway. Of course, because, you know, I am not unforgettable, unlike you.
Yeah, it's just been a lot happened in the ensuing years.
I know. So
some things get lost in the shuffle.
That's okay. That's okay. So let's go back to those days. Actually, what do you miss most about being like in the Basse-Terre youth choir and all that kind of stuff? That life. What was good about it?
She didn't have too many worries, you know, concern about where the next meal is gonna come from, or you know, getting sick. There was just not a lot of worries. It was just going to school, going to work, because I did the school and work even then, and just doing the other stuff you had to do, choir practice or whatever else.
But how was that experience in the choir though?
Choir was fun. I grew up singing in church. You know, there was always some girls group, Adventist church, and they've always put all the children to sing. So it's like singing your whole life, right? So I did the whole girls group thing, you know.
What was the name of your group?
Oh gosh, I don't remember that now. I did the girls group singing. I did the girls group. We did the sign language singing, performing in sign language.
Liturgical dancing.
Yes, liturgical dancing.
Yeah.
Yeah, she did all of that.
What?
AY.
Were you active in AY?
Not as much as I should have been.
With your mom?
I think I got through Pathfinders, and then when it was time for AY, I think I had started work and I was still doing school. So it was just like a lot going on. And then mom was, you know, off island training. So it was just me and my siblings. So it was just a lot.
Do you remember any songs from BYC? Any at all? Were you there for a hold on? Keep your hand under the plow.
No.
You weren't there for that? Okay, what about My Strength?
Yes, I
okay,
remember that.
Of course, yes.
I remember that. I remember My Strength.
And what else?
I remember there was this CC Winans, what's the name?
I can't remember. We had fun though.
We had a lot of fun.
We had a lot of fun.
We had a lot of fun. You know, singing is so my passion, so it was always a struggle for me, like, oh, choir practice again, you know, because
Yeah,
it's just
choir
it was
practice is
something
not
you
choir
knew.
practice is not fun.
Yeah, but it's something that you were good at. So people were like, oh, you should do it, but it was not a passion. It wasn't something you were passionate about.
Right.
Yeah, so for me it was that. I was good at it, but it wasn't a passionate thing for me.
Do you sing now in the choir in the shower?
Do I? Not really, you know. I would exercise in the shower.
But you don't sing anymore.
Mm-hmm.
Wow.
I was singing in the house.
You sing in the house.
I was singing in the house. I was singing in my shop.
Sing in the shop. Okay.
Yeah, I was singing in the shop.
All right.
Yeah.
So, motherhood happened around that time. I think 2003.
Yeah, a year later.
Right. And how did that influence your career decisions at the time? Because you were a journalist.
Yeah. I think by the time I got pregnant, it was like time to buckle down and work. You know, it was no more like surfing through life, you know, just enjoying what was happening. It was like, okay, I had a responsibility, you know, I had this little mouth that was depending on you for food. So, you know, settle down and, I mean, I grew up in a house where I was a single mom. Like, my parents were married, but they weren't living together. So I was basically a single mom, right? And so I knew what the struggles were. Like, if I didn't have somebody, like, supporting you, and I wasn't certain. I always lean towards the what if. That's
Okay.
me. I never go straight to, oh, it will happen. I always lean to, what if it doesn't happen? What do I need to have in place to ensure that I don't fall flat on my face?
Okay.
Right. And so for me, it was like, okay, I have this job and buckle down in a job and ensure that I could make money. I wasn't making enough at the time. And so it was like putting my best foot forward to see if I could get a raise at work, which I did. Really in a short space of time too. And then I became this whole star journalist body, and it was like, oh my gosh, another thing I've
Yeah.
become good at that I ain't passionate about.
Yeah, I remember you used to write for
Yeah.
SKM Vibes at some point.
Yeah, I worked for Leeward Times.
And the Observer, the Labour spokesman.
Yeah.
See, I did my research.
We did Inflight magazine for Liat.
You wrote some articles in that too. What were some of those articles though? Like fashion or nature or?
I don't even remember now.
Wow. You don't have
I wrote in all sorts of things. No, I don't have. No, I
No
don't
clippings?
have clippings. What? All of those things. We used to move so much that things always get lost, you know.
Wow.
Yeah.
But did you enjoy it?
At the time, yes. At the time, yes. Because for me, it was learning. Because even then, in the back of my head, it was always that goal. I wanted to have my own business and the certain skills I needed to know. I've always been an introverted personality, very quiet, very reserved. And so just learning how to communicate, just knowing that I had those certain weaknesses and what do I need to know to sort of turn those weaknesses into strengths.
Right.
So learning how to communicate, even though I'm not verbose per se, and to do that comfortably if I need to be in front of people or if I'm writing script or whatever it was that I needed to do. Because, you know, we were straddling that whole technology gap where you was still pull phone on the wall and getting into the pagers and So for me, it was just that whole transition and looking forward and thinking, so what are some of the possibilities? What are some of the things that I might need to know going forward if I wanted to be successful in business?
Wow. And you had your days, right, in this studio too?
Yeah, a few right here in a fam. You know, we did the whole modeling thing again. That was, you know, that whole self-confidence, getting comfortable being in front of people. And again, another thing that I got good at, but, you know, it wasn't a career thing for me.
Modeling.
Yeah.
Yeah, I remember. I saw you. Wow, this is now the late 2000s or mid 2000s.
Yeah. So like,
Interesting. Do you miss those days?
no.
So, your mom is definitely known as a strong woman, physically
Yeah.
and mentally. And I'm
Yeah,
sure
like,
there was a
just-
time when you were younger where you kind of would wish you didn't have to deal with that. Like,
When you were young,
Right, when you're
because you
young.
were like Ephraim's daughter, and then, but on the flip side, she was Anastasia's mom. So it's
Right.
like, yeah,
so, but seeing how resilient you've been, would you say she's had an influence on that?
of course,
That strength has come
of
right
course.
into you.
I would tell people, like people would ask me like, how do you keep going? I'd be like, I don't know how to quit. You know, I've never seen my mom quit. It's not an action that she ever patterned for me or, you know, showed me how to do. So quitting is just not something that I actively know how to do.
So she is a big reason for why you are where you are.
Yeah,
Does she know this?
of course.
Okay.
She heard me say so.
Okay, just making sure. And your culinary skills, they came from her?
They came from her. Well, in our house, when the girls and the boys get to about 12, they take over the cooking. So,
Wow.
yeah. So, you know. And at 12, I wasn't interested in cooking. I would be honest, I was not.
Yeah, I wasn't either.
You know,
I
and you know,
definitely
you're the
wasn't.
girl, so you're expected to lean towards certain things, but
Uh-huh.
I was the one who would go in the yard and planting things, or I'd be going hiking, or I'd be going out playing with the boys in the basketball or cricket or football or whatever. I was more tomboyish than girly girl.
And then the cooking came.
The cooking came later, much later.
So was it, she would literally teach you, or you would just have to just watch? And
She would teach, or she would tell.
oh,
You know, Mama
okay.
is very good at telling, and then she'll watch to see what you do. So like, oh, I think you should do this, you know, because if you do it this way, then, but if you do it that way, then, and then she'll sit back and watch to see what you do.
So right now, who cooks better, you or her?
She does.
Wow.
Mm.
What about you? Are there like signature dishes that she used to do that you have taken over on, or?
Not really, you know, the dishes that I can remember she used to do. She used to do this breadfruit dish. Like, I didn't like rice as a child. And so she would take breadfruit and cook it like soft and then push it through the strainer so it looked like rice. My mother used to find these creative ways of getting things done, right? Or getting me to do certain things. Even with punishments, she always used to find these creative ways of punishing you that you weren't sure if you were being punished or if you were being taught something else or what.
Like what? Give me an example.
I remember one day, really not a day, it was like a night I went clubbing with my boyfriend at the time and lost track of time. So it was like sunrise the next day, coming home.
That's not losing track of time. Sorry, no way.
Well, for me, it was losing track of time because it was one of those weird times where, you know, we stayed in the club all night instead of usually we would come out and check. It was just having fun. It was a whole group of us, so we really did lose track of time. And so, like, panicking because the people who usually take me home aren't there now, and they live Monkey Hill, and it's like, So finally get somebody and they reach home and there's like an army truck full of soldiers in front of the gate. It's like, yes.
Whoa.
Yeah.
And back then, they didn't really have like cell phones or.
No.
Whoa.
There
Oh, so they
Yeah,
can't be
so-
like, I was calling you. It's like they don't know
They
where
don't
you
know
are. They
where
can't.
you
They don't know
are.
where to look.
No.
Oh my gosh.
And you know, and guys drive and you're like, no, go around. Like, hey, don't. No. So you go on the block, you come back and they're gone, and you know, you jump out and you go, and it just goes, where were you?
Out.
Out? So now you're panicking, right? So it's like, there's one word that's gonna come out your mouth, like, out, where?
Club.
Cross the road. No, I said cross the
Cross the
road.
road.
I said cross the road. I just said cross the road
Where?
At a party. Yes, because you're panicking, so
Yeah.
you're not thinking clear thoughts. So, and she's like, okay, so where will you be? We're going now. And I ended up walking her from Monkey Hill all the way to Canada Estate, right? And we got questions. She looks at me. She go, "Who are you?"
Okay.
And I looked at her like, "What?
I'm your child.
Like, what do you mean? What am I saying? I don't know this person in front of me right now. Like, who are you?" And that like so totally floors you as, because it's like, what? Like, what?
Yeah.
And now you're thinking like, why would she? Like, what do you mean? Who am I? Like, I'm a daughter. Like, what is going on? And she says nothing else until we get back home. Nothing else.
Huh.
And then as soon as we got home, it was like, so you're gonna wash the clothes, you're gonna clean the house, you're gonna do all these things, and then this afternoon I'm going to this event, you're coming. So you know that means I'm not sleeping at all, right?
Oh, no sleep.
No sleep.
And you've already been out all night. Oh dear, are you
And
there?
so,
Oh wow.
and then the event that we go in the afternoon, I'm photosensitive, so it's white, all outside is all white, blazing sun, and I have to sit there. So you know, within an hour I have a migraine, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's a good mom.
Yes.
No licks,
So you learn the lesson.
but you will learn.
Didn't do that again.
You will learn, of course.
Didn't do that again.
You will. Those who can't hear will feel or learn.
She
Interesting.
didn't do that. She didn't hit me. She didn't make a lot of noise. You know, she wasn't abusing or swear bad or nothing. It just, who are you? This is what you're gonna do. And that was it.
So, good. So this entrepreneurship spirit in you, was that birthed out of passion or circumstance?
Probably a combination of both, you know. As a child, my mother would always tell me, like, in our family, as a woman, you shouldn't work for anyone, right?
Wow.
Like,
That's good values.
my
to-
grandmother, I never really saw her work for people. Like, she would go and do jobs, like day jobs, stuff like that, but never, like, having a job where she's attached to a place working.
Right.
My mom, she did it, but that was circumstance for her. It was a way to get out of the situation that she was in at the time.
Mm-hmm.
And it just so happens that she was good at soldering, so she kept at it. And then with me now, she was like, she would always tell me, like, you see all these things that I have to deal with, these bosses doing all these things, because she never really hid anything. Like, the things that would happen to her at work, she would come and she would talk them through with us and explain, like, some things that could be done to negate those situations if we are at work, if we, you know? But she was always like this. She always had the teachable moments in everything. And so it was just a thing that I saw what she was going through, and I decided I was not going to be doing that. And I started looking around to see, like, things I could be doing. So from a very young age, I was always selling something, or making cookies, or doing, she would patch nuts for me to sell. I would do pastries, I would do crocheting things, tie-dye t-shirts, whatever. I would have this little business going. And remember, I was always practicing for this wish list that I wanted to have, right? Because she would always tell me this story, which I don't remember. Like, she would say that growing up, I would always query, like, why my friends would always be sick. Like, flu would come around, flu season would come around, I wouldn't get flu. You know, they would get things on their skin, I wouldn't. And I'm like, well, how come my friends are always sick and I'm not? And she would always tell me it's the way I eat. Like, that's what always be her response, just the way you eat. And I'd be like, well, they eat the same things I do. And she's like, no, not really. Right? And I'd be like, why? She said, you see their mom go to the supermarkets and to the shops to buy stuff. How often do you go to the shop? You know? And she would put the questions, like, direct like that. So it forced you to think, like, okay, I never looked at it that way, right? It looks like the same things, but the sources is what was different, right?
Okay,
Because instead of going to the shop to buy something, she would be making it.
Yep. Mom's like that too.
Yeah, she would be making it. So it was really that difference. And I started thinking, she told me that I started making this list of all the things I wanted to make as I grew up. So I had, like, candy. I wanted to make healthy candy and healthy chips and all these things that my friends were buying in the supermarket or in the shop that we were making at home that I wanted to be able to make and sell to my friends. Wow. Yeah, so I had this wish list. So that's really how the first iteration of my company name came about, Sugar Town Wishlist. It was really that.
Oh.
Yes.
Like, this is what the show is about. We're
Yeah.
getting these stories that I'm not sure people know about these. Let's keep going. Let's keep going. more. So your brands, right? So Sugartown Organics came first, right? And then
Not
everything
really,
else. Okay,
no.
so what was first? The chicken or the egg?
Yaffine came first,
Yaffine came
interestingly
first.
enough. Yeah. The whole idea of the company was there. I think when I first registered the company, I was doing, what was I doing? Tie-dye? I was doing design work. So I would design clothes for whoever wanted something designed. I would do tie-dye things for persons who were traveling overseas or people who came to visit and wanted something, to take back. Yes. Yeah, I was hustling, right? And then I got into Avon and I got into Amway.
I remember.
Yes.
I remember.
And then,
You're a hustler, man.
yeah, I was always selling something, right? Just like, yeah.
So what I want you to do is tell us a little bit more about, get into the nitty-gritty about all your brands, because people may get confused with why it's so many and why it's important for each of those to have. It's about brand identity at this
Yes.
point. People don't understand that importance.
Yes.
Otherwise, they just lump you under this one big umbrella.
Yeah, it's like
And-
Yaffine. Everything is Yaffine. Just because, mainly because Yaffine is what they knew first,
Right.
right? They didn't know the company. The company existed, but it wasn't something that I pushed. It wasn't at the forefront. The brand was at the forefront because to me that was the product, right? I wasn't too concerned. The company was more about being legitimate, having that business license and yes.
Right.
The brand product itself is what was important. So that is what I pushed. So when people started, there was always Yaffine, right?
Now, what's Yaffine about?
So Yaffine is really our hair care, skincare line, or
Okay.
what it has developed into.
Okay.
When I first launched it, it was an amalgamation of things. So it was hair care, body care, skincare. Yeah. Right, so all of those things just lumped together under that one baby birth thing, right? As you call it, things. And over the years, it has developed, mainly led by the consumers,
That's it.
Yeah.
What you
it's
think
really-
in your head differs from what the customers say they
Yes,
want, and you have to pivot.
You have to pivot. I mean, I was doing baking. I started out with the baking, getting into Yaffine. It was about, because at the time I needed to raise money to pay off a medical bill for my son. I had no real other way to raise money, or that amount of money. Because it was working, but it was working for like 6 something every 2 weeks. Yeah. As a chef, so he was like, ugh. And so it was, and I was getting onto my 30th birthday. So it was like, I had this goal that by 30 I would have this business. So 28, you start thinking, look, you're running out of time here. You're goodbye pretty quickly. And so I remember telling my boss at the time that I wanted to go into my own business. And he was like, well, that is always the dream of every pastry chef. I mean, he thought that I wanted to go into pastry. Huh? So I remember he gave me all his books that he had at the time and recipes, and he was like one of my very first cake orders. I remember it was like this door cake slab thing that I had to do for him. And that became such a well-defined business on its own. Like, it just, like I say, that I would do something, I would get good at it, and then be like, okay, what's the next thing now? I get bored quickly, huh? And so 4 years, I had a bespoke ice cream bakery thing happening outside of my house. And then it was like, okay, so let's not get stuck in this. This is not really where we want to be. This is just about raising money.
Yeah.
So I went to my mom and I was like, this is what I'm seeing, and this is what I think I can do to sort of create a positive impact and maybe like a hiccup in the system to get people back to being healthy again. But I would need to be able to use some family recipes. Yes. So I had to have that conversation, And she was like, just explain it more to me. And I broke it down to her, and she was like, okay, I see where you're going. So what do you need? And I said, well, I have this amount of money, so I could do this. And she said, so if I matched that, what else would you be able to do?
Mm-hmm.
And I had to think about that. So it's like, okay, because I had my plan all around this certain amount of money, right?
Yeah.
And now she's telling me I have double that.
Yeah.
Right? So I said, okay, let me think about it. When I think about it, came back with a plan, and she was like, okay, so do it. And that's really how I started with that first line, that Yaffin line. It was like my mom investing that half bit into what I already had, and yes. And
God bless you, Mom.
it was like, now I have these products, now where am I going to sell them, right? And so she was like, think about it. I mean, you know your community, you've been a journalist, so you know the people, you know how they think, you have an insight that most people starting out in business don't have, right? And so I thought about it, and I was like, it may not necessarily be a good idea to start with a wholly local event. Because, sometimes we need to see things in a kitchen where we need to see things being done and being used and having good reviews before we get into it.
Yes.
Yes.
Tell me about it.
And so I now had to think of what other space I could get into to sell my products that could give me that, so that when I get to the locals now, I would have that coming to them.
Right.
Because I already had like my core set who were testing to me, but to me it wasn't enough because we were like friends. So you could say that they were biased, right?
Yeah.
People who know me, some of them not necessarily friends, close friends, but they knew me, right? And so I found out that there was this thing called Spice Fest happening on the beach over at Spice Mill.
Yeah.
Yes. And so I applied to go for it. It's a couple $100, I remember, and I was like, oh, that's gonna spend money, me ain't got money yet.
Spend money to make money, though.
Yeah, that's what you have to do. And so I think I sold 2 or 3 cakes to get the money, and then paid it and went, and everything sold off. It was like, oh my gosh. I was like, oh my gosh. Okay, so validation right there.
Yep. This is something.
Business coach should say validation right there. So, and then I just kept going, building out. I had the cake Facebook page had 26,000 people on it.
What?
Don't ask me how I did that.
26,000.
I'm still trying to replicate that.
What?
I'm not gonna. That page had on close to 30,000 people when I start going full throttle with it. It was like, wow.
Do you regret?
No,
Okay.
because it's something that I've now been able to hand off to my sister.
Oh, good stories.
Yeah.
Good. And then Florial was birthed.
Yeah, Flower really came out of a need. Flower was a need.
Okay.
Right? Yaffin was really something I saw a gap, a healing gap, you could say, in what was happening, because people were getting really sick, babies with leukemia, and I knew from my mom's experiences with cancer that food could play a really pivotal role in getting people back healthy again. And so with her, I knew a lot of the issues that she had to do with the topical things, getting good hair care, good skin care, lotions, that kind of thing, scrubs that she could do, bath soaks and all of that. And so I started there early. But then, because I was also using food, I had this whole lot of food stuff left over that I couldn't use. I didn't have enough storage to store everything. My family couldn't use it all. So you could say, what do I do with it? I can't this is wasteful to just throw away this stuff, right? And my mom, she goes, what do you typically do with excess stuff in the house? I was like, make something. She was like, well, there you go. So I was like, but make what? She said, we had this conversation. My mom, she don't give her the straight answers. Right? She's like, we had this conversation already. And I'm going, but what conversation? She said, when you started Yaffin, well, you asked me. And I had to think about it. I said, oh, family recipe, so can I?
Oh.
Yeah. She goes, so can I? And she's like, at this point, you don't really need to ask. It's like, okay. And so we started with the food stuff.
So you were really sustainable with that
early
model
on.
at
Yeah,
that
because
point.
we launched the food stuff like 3 months after Yaffin.
Right.
Yeah.
And
So-
when I say sustainable, like every ingredient mattered.
Yes.
And it's like you touch your brands
Yeah.
with the same ingredients but different products.
Yes. So I would tell
Genius.
people that you
Genius.
could look across the brand and see the
Genius.
same fruit. So take mango, for instance. We have mango in a shampoo, we have a mango lotion, we have mango soaps, we have mango extracts in scrubs, and then that's just the food, the hair care and the skincare. Then you go to the food and you have like a mango ketchup, you have a mango salad dressing, you have a mango hot sauce, you have a mango jam, you have a mango wine. Like really, just the flavor just flows.
I'm proud of you. I am extremely astronomically proud of you because, and I hope that people who are listening, who are hearing this for the first time, can get motivated because I didn't know some of this. In fact, I didn't know a lot of this, and that's one of the reasons why I said I want to have you on the show because we don't get to talk.
It's true.
And we don't get
I'm always rushing going somewhere, you know.
Right, same here. So part of what this show is about is to have the conversations that matter.
Yeah.
They help me. They help me grow. And you're blowing me away so far. And what I want us to do now, we're going to open the phone lines because I want people to understand what you do, your brands, because we have a giveaway.
Yes. We
Okay?
have 2 giveaways.
We have 2 giveaways. Now, people, I'm talking to you. Let me look into the camera. People, last week, camera 1, put it on me. Last week, I had over $1,500 worth of giveaways to give away, right? Today, I have only $100. 100. 2 times 50. Last week, all you had to do was call in. All you had to do was call in and affirm another mother, and you win something for that particular person. And it was like pulling teeth to ask people to call to win free stuff for somebody you love. Ugh. I don't get some of you. But anyway, calm down. I am not discouraged. You know what I said? I'm going to do it again. And I'm keep doing good until good becomes the new normal. So guess what? This week we have another giveaway. And all you have to do, we only have 2. All you have to do is call in and tell us what you plan to do to put a smile on somebody's face this coming week. Something kind, something thoughtful, something, whatever it is. It could be a stranger, it could be somebody you love, it could be somebody you know, it could be somebody you don't know, somebody random, a random act of kindness. Call in and tell us what you are going to do. And when you do that thing, you got to come back and share your experience by tagging me on Facebook. Doesn't mean that you're not going to get the thing. Calling, you're going to win the thing. But I want people to understand the value of being kind to somebody else and how that rewards you mentally, spiritually, and emotionally. That's the way I live my life. A lot of my blessings, in fact, most of them come from giving and from doing.
Yes.
In fact, all. I'm just going to be frank, right? And I want you guys to experience that goodness. So the first 2 callers who call in and tell us what you're going to do that's kind, that's thoughtful, that's whatever, win, okay? The call-in numbers are 466-0989, 662-0989, 762-0989. And I don't even know if I want to do the UK number because you guys are sleeping right now. USA 718-285-6984 and Canada 305-921-4619. So 466-0989, 762-0989, 662-0989. If you want to win $50 voucher to shop at any of Anastasia's brands, all you have to do is call in, tell us what you're going to do that's kind, that's thoughtful, for somebody else, and you automatically win for yourself. Simple. Last week was win for somebody else. This week it is win for yourself. All right. So while we are waiting for people to call, and if you guys don't call this time, if you don't call, I won't give up. I will keep pushing. Okay. So Trent, whenever the calls just come in, just let me know. We're gonna be talking. So your journey has taken you to places. Where are some of those places you've gone to?
My favorite place was Nairobi.
What? You went to Nairobi?
Yes, I went to Nairobi. Oh my gosh. Yes.
Wow.
It was a very long trip. I probably slept most of the way, but yes, that was an amazing trip.
Aww.
I mean, the connections we made there have served me all this time. I mean, like when I needed assistance for other things, I knew that I had a network out there that I could tap into and be like, this is the need I have, or this is the problem that I am having. I mean, and solutions that maybe your guys might have come up with that, you know? And it's just been amazing. Just being able to travel and meet new people and experience different things, broaden your horizon, your thinking. I mean, you get into spaces where you're listening to these big execs for companies like Unilever talking about things that they're doing, things that are happening. And it's just been amazing.
So, wow, I'm impressed. And you've met some famous people, I'm pretty sure. Not necessarily famous, influential, successful business people.
Influential, yes.
How were you feeling rubbing shoulders? Because they wouldn't see you as any less than them. They would see you as somebody who can, once you're in that space.
Yeah, it's just
you're
a colleague.
Right.
It's like you belong. Because
Yes.
you're there, you belong. So they talk to you, they share information. I mean, you're meeting people, like when we did the summit in San Francisco, I think that was, being able to meet Damon Dash and just listen to him talk and ask questions. And I remember I had become friends with this girl from Africa. She had this whole She Leads thing that she was doing. And just being able to sit and have those conversations, I mean, it holds you in such good stead going forward, because the things that they share with you, I mean, they don't know you, they're just hearing this little snippet of your business that you're able to say in that couple seconds that you're there, right? But the insight that they give you, I mean, you can take that and do so much with it. And that's what I've been able to do.
Wow. So you featured in, have you been featured in any competitions or?
Did a few. I like to tell people that I don't necessarily enter a competition to win, I enter to learn. Right?
Okay.
Because if you're entering to win, you're focused on winning, you're missing a lot of the learning steps along the way, because you're focused on trying to beat everybody else, right? And so I tend to enter to win, to learn as much as I can, because I'm coming from the Caribbean.
Yeah.
Like, it's a very different space. And I'm going into a space that is more developed. They have a lot more happening, right? They're sometimes far further ahead than us in terms of what they're doing. And I'm coming from this space where there's so much missing. There's so much that is not there in terms of support for small businesses. And I'm like playing catch up in a way.
You're playing catch up? What about Mayo?
And so for me, it was always about learning as much as I could. I mean, often I would make it to the finals, yes, but it was about learning as much as I can, because I need to take this back and implement it into my business. And people would always say, like, if you follow me, that I'm always sharing the information that I get. I will always share that I'm going this place, that I'm doing this. And then you'll come back and you'll see me do certain things, and I would make that public so that others watching on can learn, right? Because for me, it doesn't make sense learning everything and then holding it until, like, I'm going to die, and then what? That information is just going to disappear. And then those coming behind me starting from scratch, it's some fear, right? And so for me, it's always been that, taking that whole public approach to learning and sharing and growing.
So, right now, as you've taken some of those lessons, and if somebody were to invest, let's say $100,000 in you right now, where would that take you?
Boy. Well, COVID has thrown us all for a loop, right? And I will put it nicely, all for a loop. And so you find yourself in situations where you need to sort of revamp quickly. I remember with us, the lockdown sort of shut us down, like, at capacity, like 85%. Like, we just lost all of that.
Wow.
And then the continued lockdowns ensured that we lost out on an entire fruiting season, right? Because you couldn't go out and yes. So that whole period, I was unable to just stock up the way I normally would have, right? We typically would have. And so we lost out on all of that. And that, again, domino effect, because now I can't supply.
Wow.
And so it was almost like starting over in a way. But I was like, well, since I'm starting over anyway, let's put some things in place so that if this happens again, it's not so bad,
Oh,
right?
good.
Yeah.
Pivot.
And so what we started doing is started making certain things because supply chains are shot right now.
Yep.
It's just like terrible. And so we started making certain things in house, putting in the gardens, putting in more spices so that we could do more of our botanical extracts in house instead of buying, because you're buying expensive. They come in, you pay customs again for them, right? And so it was just a way to sort of take a firmer control of our supply chain, like ensure that there were more things that were made locally here. But it also ensured that we could meet certain standards when it comes to rules of origin,
Organic, right? Yes, you
instance,
know for
or
sure.
organic
Yes.
or cruelty-free.
Yes.
Like, so if we go for those, I would have most of those boxes ticked already, right? And so this is just looking at what we were doing and trying to figure out how we can pivot or how we can reposition, because things. We're hoping that things are going to go back to normal, but that is not my hope, right? I am more on the what if. What if? And so for me, it's what if, and if, then what do I need to do to circumvent these things, right? Because you need to plan for the future. There's no point standing in place and going, okay, I'm just going to deal with it now.
Wow. Can you believe that the show is over?
Time goes fast when you're
yes,
yeah.
you're in good space. And people, let me look at you again. I realize nobody called. I don't know what that says, but I'm not going to give up. Okay? I am going to keep perpetuating good and giving you guys reason to do good for yourself and for other people. That's my purpose, right? All we wanted to do was just hear you guys say what you're going to do that's kind for someone. But those of you who are listening who might be phone shy or whatever, still be intentional about doing something kind for somebody over the course of the week until I am here next week, Thursday. All right? Now, if you guys decide to call now, remember, you have like your final, this is like the altar call for the call that doesn't come, to be able to win $50 to shop at any of Anastasia's brands in her nice little cute store in Port Zante. Now, while we're waiting for that, we're going to go through the rapid fire session, which is just 10 questions. I'm going to ask them first person, and then you just answer them. All right, start with number one. Something that people always get wrong about their perception of me is?
No.
All right.
People just say I'm quiet, but that is true.
Okay, I want the one that they think that they get wrong. Oh.
Then I'm always happy.
They're always happy. So you're not always happy. All right,
I
next
go through
one.
the emotions like everybody else.
Oh, yeah, tell me about that. I go through that too. All right, if I met the celebrity, you would not be able to get me to focus at all.
Who though? Maybe Lee Min Ho.
Okay. Number 3, this is my go-to strategy whenever I feel discouraged.
Read.
Number 4, COVID was able to positively affect my businesses in this way. You just talk about it anyway.
Yeah.
Plant stuff in your yard.
Branding.
Number 5, if you asked my children why their mother is just awesome, they would say this.
She's awesome.
Why? She's just awesome?
She's just awesome.
Okay.
And then they said, but she's mommy. My son, she's mommy.
Pick a show, Chopped or Iron Chef?
Chopped.
Ah, yeah, me too. If I wanted to do sports, I think I'll be very good at this.
Sailing.
My ultimate birthday gift would be this.
A 2-week trip across Africa.
Ooh. Number 9, at the end of it all, this is what I want my legacy to be.
I built something for my children.
You built something for your children.
They didn't have to start from scratch.
And number 10, best part about being on the show is?
Oh, you got to see a different part of me, no?
Yeah. And just before we go, people on Facebook, Veronica Julius, thank you for the love. Thank you for commenting.
Hi,
She's like, be ye kind to one another. Her stuff is awesome, speaking about you. So thank you for keeping us lively and making me feel like people are actually listening. playing. People, that's it. So that's the end of our show. It's been lovely having you here, and it's lovely having all of you listening and watching, even though you didn't call. But I know your hearts are in the right place. You're just shy. So, like I said, I'm not going to give up. I'm going to keep pushing, and at some point, this is going to become the new normal. Until then, be kind to each other and spread love. Bye.
Peace out.